Something that I'm seeing is each school is sort of deciding what that quarantine period is.
Mm-hmm.
And as a contact investigator, we're told the quarantine, there's clearly other criteria, but the basics of that quarantine is 10 days.
Yeah.
What are you doing in your school district when there is a COVID case, and how long is that child out of school?
Well, we do the 10-day piece, right? So the thing is that, it all depends on the circumstances in which the kids have contact. It's been our experience that we've had very little cases as far as sports is concerned. We have, basketball, volleyball, wrestling, and but we've had almost no cases that way. We had cases like in the summer where kids got sick because they hung out together, things like that. And so we did the necessary quarantine protocol through the health department in the district. So whenever we got calls, if a kid got sick or if a kid was at a party and some kid got sick, we would call that into the health department and they would give us instructions on how to move forward. And so we kept that up. We're one of the latest schools. We're starting bringing the kids back next week, Monday. But we still have all the mandated protocols. You have to wear a mask before you go to class. You can't enter the building without a mask. The same thing, but all that was coordinated through the health department, through the district. So we had somebody we could call and they could walk us through those things. And so we've been doing that for almost a year.
And so you continued your sports system?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We're actually starting football. Our first football game is this Friday. Normally football's in the fall, so we stopped all of that. So some conferences starts football in the spring, and so that's what we decided to do. But we're going to have track. I'm going to have football. We had wrestling as early as January and basketball. We know Wisconsin just finished our state basketball, our tournament last week. So yeah, we came back and did that.
Wow, that's impressive. Mm-hmm. Good for you.
Yeah.
And to say that you had no cases is impressive.
Yeah, well, we very, very low. Even with the teachers, have done very well. We had brought the teachers back in February 1st, actually, that the teachers were able to work out a building because everybody was virtual up until the 1st of February.
Oh,
and so we've been doing very well. And then we brought the kids back. But you had distance learning. We had the school is closed every Wednesday for disinfecting. And so we've done a great job of just handling that whole piece. So I'm feeling really, really good about bringing the kids back to school. The only problem is of course, the cafeteria. And so we have kids spread out for lunch because that's just a basic little super spreader. But we have a good plan. Kids walk on different sides of the halls. We have kids going up and down different stairwells. And so we've spent months planning on this.
Wow.
Plexiglass for all the teachers. Yeah, spend the CARES Act, that's a lot of money from the government. So we have plexiglass for all the teachers and people are feeling a lot safer. And so I feel really, really good about it.
That's excellent. Job well done.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So now I want to come back to the two of you. Talk about Altered 5. I know that you guys were recently back in the studio, getting ready to, figure out what you're going to do on your next release. And, I was kind of aware that, Tom Hainbridge had been your producer on the last couple, but I think if I really researched, he's been your producer from the get-go, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How did you come to work with Tom Hainbridge?
Well, this is what we recorded a few months back, or last month, a few weeks back, was our 6th album. And sometimes we don't count the first two, but Tom came into the picture in album number 3. And so this is our 4th record with Tom. And he's been great. He's been a good friend, and we just meshed really well. But to answer your question, when we were working on our 3rd record, we realized, hey, we got to do something different. You do what you've always done, you get what you've always gotten, and that kind of thing. and let's go out and get a producer. You know, we had worked with some producers, and some of us had in the past, and known it makes a big difference if you find the right person. And it was actually Bruce Sigelauer from Alligator who mentioned in passing, you know, hey, you guys, you know, you should really contact Tom. It's kind of a fitting sound. And so he was nice enough to connect us. And Tom, for the first record, came up to in the middle of a, you know, below zero snowstorm up to Wisconsin to work with us. And he had no idea what he was getting into. You know, who the heck are these guys, man? You know, can they write? Can they play? You know, he kind of knew, but so it was a good start, and we've grown a lot with him, and he's helped out quite a bit.
And what do you feel changed in this process now that you guys are sort of bonding as a true team? What was different with Tom this time?
I don't know, this last time, I guess for me, is the familiarity with the process, right? And so, you know, for me, you know, what made it really, really cool to work with him is that he's always used what we had, right? He's always respected what we had. Here's what we have. Here's what we can do with this song, you know, and have ideas that way, but not like huge sweeping changes. He was willing to work with what we had and made it like way super cool, better. And so going down this time, we were able to work a little faster and just a little better. And because we knew the process, right? We knew what to expect. And so it was a good process, and we were able to work faster, and just feeling really, really good about what just happened in Nashville. I mean, the stuff is sounding great, and we came away feeling really good. But I think it's just overall, we have a process with him now. And like you mentioned, it's a team effort, and it felt like that.
Nice. And did you go back to the same studio as last time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
yeah.
2 times in a row.
We certainly had a lot of time to work on the songs, and not much else. That was pretty good. And but yeah, I echo what Jeff said, that, you know, we work with the same engineers, and knowing the process. You know, we're a little different than maybe some in that we write all our own music. So we walk in, songs are kind of there, and we're a band. You know, we're rehearsing it beforehand, and so, you know, we're coming in cold, and Tom and the others, they haven't heard the material at all, so they're hearing it for the first time and reacting. But yeah, we've got a pretty good process, and it was comfortable, and everybody had a good time.
And that's something that I really like. I mean, you guys are really a unit. There's no one individual in this band, and I really admire that. And something that you guys talk about is your songwriting process. Is it always collective?
You know, I think the thing is, you know, Jeff is our principal songwriter. You know, we've collaborated on a lot of stuff. And I think the interesting thing is about it is that we're constantly doing that, right? So I bouncing ideas off of each other. I am never surprised when he'll call me out of the blue and say, "Hey, listen to this," or "What do you think about this?" Or you know, something, and all, you know, lyrics as well. You know, good lines, you know, blues lyrics, you know, titles for songs. We're constantly doing that, you know, and so that's just a part of just what we do. It's not just like, you know, it's album time or, you know, let's put together a CD. It's even when we have time off, we still kind of are always looking for something way cool to add. So that's just kind of been our thing, is that that's an ongoing process for us. Not just when it's time to go to the studio. We're constantly doing that.
And did you find you had more of these moments and epiphanies with all this downtime?
No, go ahead, Jeff.
Well, we have more time, no question about that. You know, I think the more time goes on, if I'm writing, obviously I'm writing for Jeff's voice, and hey, we're on album 6. You think I would have figured it out a little bit earlier, but
No.
But as we go on, you know, I learn more and more about how he likes to sing, what he likes to sing. It's not only the range, but it's just, you know, some of the nuance. the wording and things like that. So, you know, inevitably he takes it and does it his own cool way, and that's great. But you know, we've learned along the way how to write, you know, for the band, and that includes the other guys too. They're a huge part of it. You know, Mark and Al and Ray. So, you know, it's a team, Tina. It's a team.
It is a team, and I really admire that. And you know, kind of back to the reality in the blues world specifically, and probably the pop world as well. You know, it's always the person's name. You know, so and so featuring.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys came out of the gate as a unit. You've explained to everybody from the get-go you're a unit. And there's no doubt that it works at that way. And it was interesting what you were saying about writing for Jeff's voice, because once you guys have done all your pieces of the pie and you hit that stage, you know, that delivery that you give to these lyrics and that, Jeff, is amazing. And it's kind of funny because, you know, one of the things I think that your style of songwriting is clever, it's witty, it's engaging. And I think that each one tells a tiny story. For me personally, when I listen to it, I feel like it comes from life stories. But knowing that, you know, blues tunes were always kind of personal, especially old blues tunes,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of rewritten to deflect that personal aspect. You know, I have to ask, is that something you guys do? Are these more personal? Are they?
I don't know. I think at times, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because, you know, usually, you know, the first thing about Jeff is, you know, is this the right key for you? You know, and so the thing is, I've never. I mean, it's a democratic kind of thing, right? Where we're just trying to get the best sound, right? So if nothing's, you know, fitting my voice, or if it's in a weird key, I have no qualms about that. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like if it's out of my range, it's out of my range. So let's do it. And so Jeff has been so good about being able to change keys and to fit the voice. And so once we get that down, you know, it's the whole thing about delivery and telling those stories. And so we like I said, it's all a process. You know, we have never, I mean, maybe one time, you know, this whole thing of, you know, featuring Jeff Taylor, but that was like 10 years ago. And that was like a conversation that took like 3 minutes. I was like, I am not interested. We're a fist. No, I'm serious. I said, we're a fist. We're a team. And I was not interested in that at all. And it's just worked out for us. And somebody asked me a little while ago, you know, what's the best thing about being in a band? And I said, here's the thing, is that, you know, I'm with 4 of the guys that love music just as much as I am. So I'm happy right now, you know what I'm saying? And everything else that's happened is just, you know, just cream on top of the pie. But I'm with 4 guys that just care about it and love it just as much as I do. And so being a part of that, it's just a team effort. And so there's no individual, you know, stuff going on with us. You know, it's just coming together and writing. And that's the way Jeff writes. It's for everybody to contribute to that picture that we're trying to portray.
Yeah, you know, you asked Tina about lyrics, and you know, sure, some of them have, you know, realism in them, certainly from all of us, and sometimes we stretch the truth a little bit. Some of them are maybe more real than we want to admit, you know, or after the fact we realize, you know, damn, that was about this or that. But you know, we have fun with it. You know, you never know where the song might come from, and you know, how it relates. But you know, we obviously we want to sing about stuff that, you know, Jeff's comfortable singing about. You know, and you know, sometimes it has meaning, and sometimes it's just a fun story, and you know, whatever, we make it work. But you know, this record, like the others, I mean, we won't get into it too much because heck, we haven't even heard the mixes yet. But
Right.
it's got some good stuff in it.
Right. Yeah.
So how long were you guys I mean, I'm going to start at the top. Most bands start as cover bands. and you guys, you know, speak of this in certain things. So how long were you a cover band before you became all original?
4 years, maybe
Yeah.
4 years, Jeff, maybe 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, about 5 years, but we were never the kind of cover band where we were playing straight covers. I mean,
Right,
from
right.
day one, I mean, that's an understatement. I mean, from day one, if you came to see our very first gig, you'd hear songs that you knew, but they were really altered, if you know.
Altered,
Yeah.
really seriously different, you know. And when we met and we sat down and talked, you know, he wanted to do this thing. We were trying to make rock songs into blues songs, right? Bring it back.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's what we were doing. And so I love the concept. And so we were doing that. And what was funny, was interesting was the, you know, the people, you know, kind of understood it, but the musicians understood it. Right. So, you know, you get these guitar players or a guy that plays bass that'll walk up after you're like, hey man, that rendition of whatever, that was crazy. Like, you know, you go, oh, that was amazing what you guys did with that song, you know. And so we knew we had something. And so we were at it for a while. And then all of a sudden, you know, we just, because of our, you know, it was the arrangements, you know, we had these awesome arrangements of these songs. And then I think out of that was the birth of what you have now as far as our sound came out of those pieces.
So the name was literally altered because of your concept.
That was part of it. That was part of it. It was part of it, you know.
Interesting. Wow, that's cool. So I want to come back to two things about the recent recording again. I think it was you, Schroedl, who had mentioned in a interview about the 10,000 watts recording that you guys had done that in 4 days, and you described the process that it brought more of a live element to the recording. Is that the same process you went with this last one?
Yeah, it was 5 days this time.
5 days.
You know, we I don't know, maybe we just took our time a little bit more, but yeah, it was. You know, we do a couple takes of the rhythm section and, you know, maybe fix something or go back and change something. But yeah, it's semi-live, you know, in spots, and the same process as last time. You know, we were at Ocean Way Studio and the Switchyard, a couple of studios in the Nashville area. And it was a good time. You know, it's great when you got some wonderful studios and great equipment. You know, you got the Hammond B3 and you got the piano and just everybody's really pro. It makes it easier and faster, but there's nothing worse than, you know, doing a record that extends off for, you know, 4 months or 6 months, and hey, you got to get back in the studio to do those two songs. It's like, oh man, it's burnout. Where if you do it all at one time, there's a lot of energy, and you just rip it out, and it just feels good. So
he's not talking about how amazing I was recording those vocals. You know, I was nailing those songs back and left and right.
Yeah, you know, hey, that goes back to having a lot of time on our hands, right?
I was gonna say that the ability
I'm just,
yeah.
you know, it was. Here's the thing with the last time we had been performing those songs as well, and
right.
that's why it went so fast, and that's why it was so easy, because we had been playing those songs. You know, we were trying those songs out on audiences for months. So when we got down there for 10,000 watts, you know, we had been playing those songs for a while. This last time, you know, we're sitting at home. And so it was a real challenge to, and he's right. You know, I mean, Michael St. Leon's got a beautiful microphone. I love that micro, just love it. And it just feels so natural it's a beautiful mic. And so it makes it really, really easy. It was really, really easy for me to get that. So it was a little different this time because we had not been playing the songs. Last time for 10,000 watts, we had been performing those songs for quite some time. So it went really, really fast.
Well,
And I was amazing as well. I was.
speaks volumes about the teamwork if you only had to add one extra day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, we haven't heard the tracks yet, though, so you never know.
Yeah, right.
We have a different
We
opinion.
sit there. Yeah, we're waiting. And we are not waiting patiently. We are really because I mean, honestly, you know, with some of the playback that we have, you know, it's just, I mean, it really is. I'm really proud of what we've done under the circumstances. I mean, I think the album sounds great. Jeff has done an amazing job, you know, is putting together the songs. We got great concepts and great stories, and we are really excited about it. But the overall sound is just amazing, and so we're trying to be patient, but we really want to, you know, we really want to hear what we've done.
You know, the first time you hear recordings, it's sort of like you listen to your voice back. You know, you record your voice and you listen to your voice back talking, and you say, "Is that really me?" You know, it's the same thing when you listen to a recording back of whatever in my case, guitar playing. You know, but you hear it back for the first time, and it's sort of like, wow, it's not what it sounds like. But then you get used to it a little bit, and of course by now we sort of know what we sound like. But it's always interesting when you hear the recordings back for the very first time, because it's you know, it's just different.
And something that you guys did this time, I mean, because I love your music as it is, but now you've kind of connected with somebody very dear to me, which is Fluidity.
Yeah.
And so I believe this was your first time to meet Jason.
Yeah, you know, we'd talked going back, you know, some time, and of course knew of Jason, and it's fantastic, and Tom Hambridge. I had brought him in a couple of other records that he produced in the past, and so yeah, Jason was cool enough to drive up. You know, like us, he probably had nothing else to do, right? So yeah, he was great. We really had a great time with him, and he just showed up and plugged in and did his thing, and he added a lot. You know, you'll hear it. He's blended really well.
That's awesome. So how
we have.
would you describe what his style, how would I ask the question? I mean, what would your summary be of Jason's playing style and how it fit with what you guys were doing?
You know, for me, he sounded so authentic. He had a really traditional way of playing, right? To a point where, but it was traditional, but he would also extend things, right? So what was cool, I could not wait to hear one of the songs we had, "Holler If You Hear Me," which has got a kind of a gospel feel to it. And he just, I mean, wailed to a point where it just sounds so authentic, so just really original. I can't wait to hear that track. And so he just did traditional playing, but with just some really elements where he's stretching, and it's just awesome the way his phrasing and the way he plays. It's amazing.
Yeah, he was. You know, at first, you know, he was, I think, purposely trying to lay back and blend. And a couple of times, you know, we said, "Hey, play, man, play." And he said, "Hey, it's the first time anybody told me to play
let it go.
more.
Yeah,
play more." You know, so
yeah,
it was cool. And he played on, you know, I think we intended to have him play on 3 songs, and he sounded so darn good. I think he ended up on 5.
Yeah,
and you know. They're different styles, you know. I mean, it's all the same band. We got kind of the same sound, but each song had something a little different. So, and he mixed up his tone a little bit too. But he's got he's got it all. He's got the great tone, great feel, and certainly has chops too if he wants to use them. So, no, it was cool. It was cool. He brought some energy, you know, some good energy to the room too, which is always good in a recording session. Just to have somebody different there to kind of play off of, and I think that helped.
That's awesome. So Taylor, you speak of, you know, that your parents had the blues was something that was streaming in your house as you grew up. What were some of those albums that you remember, and what ones did you take into your childhood that you felt totally spoke to you?
Well, Joe Simon, B.B. King, of course, Bobby Blue Bland. Mom had those records. Those were house cleaning music. I would explain in interviews on the weekend. So all weekend, every day, all day, right? And so my mom was a huge music fan. We had records, we had albums. We would always go to shop and get albums together. And so, Thrill Is Gone and songs like that, Bobby Blue Bland, Johnny Taylor, ZZ Hill and artists like that was always kind of there, and, my mom was from Jackson, Mississippi. And so she, was born and raised in the 1930s and early 40s. And so, just moving to Wisconsin, she just brought a lot of that with her. So that was just, that's just what we did. That's just what was going on in my house, quite a bit. And so, yeah, that's just how I grew up. And that was from early on until adulthood, until I went away to college. That's just what we did.
So as a teenager, what was your favorite album?
My favorite album, favorite blues artist at that time, I would say a lot of it was B.B. King, and I was still trying to do R&B singing, right? So I wanted to be an R&B guy, but my blues voice came on a Tuesday. Not a Monday. It was a Tuesday, and I'll tell you the story very, very quickly. So, I joined a blues band before I got together with Jeff and those guys, and we had rehearsal on Tuesdays, and I was not having success being, a R&B crooner, and it was not. I tried real hard. So what happened was they were just, the choking kind was a song that I loved from my childhood, Joe Simon. And I could sing that song very well. And so we were doing that song, and the drummer's wife came from upstairs. She was making a cake, and she comes down with a spoon, and she's got the frosting, and she's like, "Who's singing like that?" And everybody's like, that's JT singing like that. And she pointed that spoon at me, and she said, "You know what? You need to sing like that all the time." And I've been doing it ever since. It's a true story. So,
how great is that?
It just came. I've got a country blues man voice, and I had to accept that. And so by the time I got with Jeff, I understood that I was, this crooner thing that I wanted to do was not really, I have a true blues voice. And so I had to deal with that, and I've been loving it ever since. But that's a true story. That's what happened.
That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. So Schroedl, beyond the blues, what other styles of music do you listen to?
It's a melting pot. I tell people it's like guitar gumbo. I've listened to everybody, rock and jazz guys. I go pretty deep on both those categories, and picked up things from everyone. That's the thing about nowadays. You can hear anything. You can go on Spotify or YouTube or whatever it might be, and you can just roam around. And so the influences are further and wider probably than many years back. So I like it all. And the blues, I obviously go back to the beginning there and listen to all the contemporary people. I don't know. I like it all. I mean, I obviously a little more of an electric blues taste. Although I appreciate a lot of the acoustic blues and have listened to it as well, but a little more on the electric blues side, and I like it all. Doesn't matter. It could be trio, could be horn bands. Like a lot of the '70s stuff. I got a Freddie King T-shirt on right now, so I dig him. And you got a nice sweatshirt too, by the way, Tina. A little altered.
Very nice. Very nice.
I do.
Very nice.
I was telling Jeff. Well, Schroedl, to be clear, I've had this probably the week you guys released it. It has been washed many times. It has been worn a lot, and it is an awesome sweatshirt. So yeah, to those of you out there that want to know where you can find this, they are on Amazon, and it's super wonderful material.
Yeah, there's hoodies, t-shirts, all different colors, sizes, you name it. So
yeah,
we see people show up, when we were doing gigs, we would see people show up in different colored t-shirts we'd never seen before, because they order them on Amazon and choose a different color and all that kind of good stuff. So
yeah, I like that. I like that you guys have it on Amazon. So, you come from an area that maybe I'm just not overly familiar, but I like to think that I know a lot about the blues. You come from a state, Wisconsin, that I just cannot imagine is that big of a blues mecca. And so, roughly how many blues bands are there in your market? And was there any one local band as you were coming up that most influenced you?
it's a good, pretty healthy blues scene here. There's a blues society in Madison, 90 miles from here. There's a terrific blues society here that's connected to the Paramount. It's Paramount Music Association, it's called now, and they've cultivated the scene, quite a lot. So there's a good mix of some younger folks playing blues and different settings, and some old guard. We had a couple of them pass away now in recent years, but clubs, the club scene is not what it used to be, that's for sure. We've got some clubs. In fact, one of the well-known blues clubs here in Milwaukee, the Up and Under Pub, recently shut down. But I'll let Jeff comment on a few of the folks or influences.
Well, I think, for me, Luther Allison, is a Wisconsin guy, and so and having times, back before he passed, he had a club in Madison, and that's where, a lot of us hung out early on. Shank Hall, Up and Under Pub, and Chicago blues artists, so it's the clubs. And as a younger guy, just starting to get into it, those were the clubs that I went to. But I remember going to Luther's Blues in Madison and just doing that. And then, recently now, Buddy guys, Legends down in Chicago. Didn't really know about that when I was younger, but that is certainly an amazing venue. But, Wisconsin, we love our blues. There's a nice, healthy blues contingent here. And they've been very supportive. And Paramount Blues Society has been very supportive of us as well. So, but, people here, Wisconsin, they don't really connect Wisconsin with blues, more so Chicago. But we have a healthy appetite for blues in Wisconsin and Milwaukee.
Yeah, there's some world-class musicians all around,
Oh yeah.
But on different instruments, there's a couple of great harmonica players. One of them, Steve Collins, played on the last records, and you name it, guitar players, drummers, all around. So it's pretty strong. And some bands that are traveling, some bands that are putting out records, and then of course Chicago's not too far away. We're certainly a Milwaukee band, but there's clearly some influence that has come up by 94 into Milwaukee, and vice versa.
Yeah, that's true. You're not very far from Chicago. So going back to for the record, you guys are 18 years old now as a band?
Almost 20.
I think it's 19 going on 20.
Okay.
Yeah, we're a fast riser,
Yeah.
So you have a wealth of history together as a band, but as far as actually touring, this is a little more recent. And so tell me one thing that surprised you about the music industry, and maybe it's something you thought to be true that turned out to be false, or maybe it's a reality you had to face you never anticipated.
I think for me, the one thing that always surprises me, is, our tenacity to believe in our own sound, right? And so we are not, we didn't wait around for somebody to kind of be nice to us. We had something, that product that we believed in, right? And so we stayed focused with that. So what has surprised me was after years of really trying to get it off the ground, how we have been embraced once they gave us that shot. Once we, the IBC, and then the things that we've done, and then some airplay and things like that. And so it's just how we've been embraced after we figured out the direction we wanted to go with our music. And it's always surprising. It's just small milestones, these little things that, first, we were doing this one thing, and all of a sudden now we're flying to gigs, and now we're doing this. And next thing you know, oh, okay, now we're in Europe. It's just these little things that just kept adding on. And so I've been, even though I'm surprised, I know that we've worked very hard for these things. And it's just being nice and it's not about all the kudos, it's the being embraced by the family, so to speak, and knowing that we're really, and I think people understand how genuine we are when we really take our music seriously, and we're doing the best we can, and try to create a good product. So just being embraced by the genre, I think, has been surprising for me.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. I mean, I think the songs, clearly songs make a difference, and you can run out there and play different things, and long solos or whatever you're going to do. At the end of the day, people want to hear songs, and the better songs you can write, the more people are going to come back, the more people are going to enjoy the shows. But Jeff is right. We have not been an overnight sensation. That's for sure. But we've stacked some successes, and we just tried to keep getting better. That's all we do. We're just having a good time. But we always kind of joke because about a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago, we were nominated for a BMA award for Best Emerging Artists, and we were like 16 years in and go, hey, we're going to emerge. So we were appreciative and all, but it's always kind of a joke because we've been doing it a long time, like a lot of other blues bands have been doing it a long time. And hey, I think the turning point for us really when we started writing our own music, and that gives you an identity, and you hopefully write to your strengths of the members, and then more naturally the music sounds like you, and that's what we're trying to do.
I'll tell you a funny I'll tell you an interesting thing, right? So a few years into our band, by 4 or 5 years, I would always call Jeff and say, "Hey man, are we famous yet?" I think, right? I would always. I think he got it. I think he may have just got tired of me saying it. He said, "Listen," he said, "I'll be honest with you. It might take 20 years." No, and here's the fear. And I always tell him the story, but it was the look on his face. I knew he was serious. You understand what I'm saying? Like he was like, and I don't know if he was frustrated because I used to always have fun. I used to call him up all the time at the job and say, "Hey man, we famous yet?" And so one day at rehearsal, he said, "Man, I got to tell you, if you want to be that guy signing autographs," he said, "it might take 20 years." And so I was looking at him like, "Ooh, that's a long time to be hanging out with you, man." But it's all worked out. It's been great, and it's like you said, it's just a process. It's the journey, and it's not about all of the and like I said before, I mean, I could trade all of the accolades and the articles and things like that. I'm with 4 guys that just love it as much as so I'm already feeling successful like that. It's just because I'm with a great band, and these guys make it easy for me to do my thing, and so it's just going really well.
Yeah, and you've talked about, and I think it was you, Schroedl, that actually said it, about bringing something new to a familiar style of music. what do you feel that is that you bring? And clearly we're talking about modern day blues.
I don't know. We try to be ourselves. You know, we all have different stylistic backgrounds, and we all sound unique. And you have to, you know, rather than trying to sound like somebody else, you have to realize what's unique about your own playing, and then bring that out more. Because and you know, even on the record that we recorded a few weeks ago in Nashville, there was a song that had kind of a little hooky thing that Tom picked up on and said, you know, it's kind of a memorable little lick. Why don't you do it again? And I did it again. It was a guitar thing. Why don't you do it again? So I did it again, and he said, why don't you double it? And so I doubled it. You know, so you know, there are just little things like that we try to bring out. But yeah, that's part of writing. You're trying to realize who you are and what you sound like, and listening back and do things that you know, everybody makes little noises that are unique to themselves on an instrument.
I think, you know, Jeff is, you know, I think another thing as far as the process is concerned with the songwriting, very, very focused on not repeating the same thing. You know, if it's already been done, there's a huge focus to be original. And I've watched this man work really hard to, you know, not sound like somebody else, and has been really, really focused on, over the years, has been very passionate about creating a signature sound for himself and for our band. And there is no, you know, trying really, really hard not to repeat, you know, or the past that's already been done. Let's do something else. And even with intros to songs and things like that, he spends a lot of time making sure that, you know, it's original. And so it's very, very focused on really, really trying to stretch it and move it forward. And so, yeah, and, you know, we said, and that's our process, but we've, you know, Jeff is really, you know, he's really, really focused on trying to be original, which is way cool.
And I think that's the continuous theme with you guys. And so maybe my question I should ask, I mean, obviously you guys understand that you want to write in Taylor's key. And that's not something I've never heard a songwriter say that. So you're starting out, you know that to be good at what you do, you have to be your authentic self. Mm-hmm. How could you help somebody be like, this is how you can discover your authentic self? Is there any advice you could give on that?
I don't know. I've seen articles about that. Discover your voice, you know, and you know, I suppose just being cognizant of it and aware of it. But you know, I could write a cool blues lyric that might need a scream. It might need a dynamic, you know, high buddy guy kind of thing, and that's not going to necessarily work. You know, Jeff's going to sing it a different way. So, and that goes for everybody. You know, it goes for Ray playing keys and Al on drums and Mark's bass. You know, Mark, they're very carefully the rhythm section. They got their thing going, and everybody tries to do their thing.
And I guess that's just it. You've got to find it. And I guess sure, people can give you advice or direction, but you have to really have it within you.
And it takes time, you know, and the thing is, if you love it and you know what's inside of you, you know, these things take time. You know, this is not something that happened overnight, and you have to be willing to listen, you know, and be diplomatic about what you can do, you know. And I don't take it personally when, you know, Jeff said, you know, Jeff, it sounded like it's a little too high for you. Okay, you know, I don't have the diva complex where, you know, I want to just do what's best for the band, and not just necessarily, it's not about me, it's about us. And so in finding your voice, you have to be able to listen to some criticism and be part of a team. And to try to find it that way. You know, Jeff's a great guitarist and great musician, so I trust him and trust his input. And we very seldom, argue or haggle over stuff like that. You know, it's just what's comfortable, and He knows I like to. There's a certain wheelhouse I like to live in. He knows where that is, and once we find that, we're good to go. You know. So, and sometimes it takes a little while. So, for people starting out to define your voice, you know, give it some time, and be diplomatic about it, and seek some other advice. You know. So, I mean, that's my.
And that's great advice. The criticism is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I tell a lot of artists to come up with one question for every, like a question for a manager, a question for an agent, a question for a songwriter, and ask that same question to everybody. And then take that advice in the middle that feels the best for you, and then take off. Because you know, it's a business of opinions until you're selling out arenas.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So what is the next milestone that you'd like to accomplish? And that question's being asked both personally and professionally.
Hey, we're just getting through the year. We want to get back gigging again and seeing live shows and all that. But you know, we practiced a lot, I think, and got a record done. I think just trying to figure out a way as a band to release the new album, how we're going to do that, when we're going to do that, and then get back out playing, having some fun.
Yeah, I think it's more we talk about it all the time. We just can't wait. You know, this pandemic, you know, we had plans for Europe. We had all this kind of stuff, and it just kind of slowed us down. So we are like climbing the walls, trying to get ready to get back out there. And I just can't wait to do that. And to show people what we've been up to, you know, on these slow months. I mean, I think we've got a great record. We've got some great songs. And I think it's going to be a great show once we get it put together. And I can't wait to show people, you know, what we've come up with.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I know that, you know, that news will come once you guys can work through the process.
Yeah.
And good luck on that first listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be soon. Yeah, we got some work to do to try to figure out how we're going to release it all. But you know, it'll be good. We always try to do something a little bit better than the last one, we hope. So.
Yeah, and you guys have successfully done that. You truly have. It has been a joy. Every record you have released is just phenomenal. Job well done, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. So thank you for joining me today. I've truly appreciated this, and it's awesome having you. And stay safe, be well, and we will see you guys soon.
All right, Tina.
All right.
Weekend.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you for giving some time of your day for these gentlemen. If you'd like to keep up with the band, you can find them at www.altered5.com. And if you're on Spotify, please make sure to add Altered 5 Blues Band to your playlist. In conclusion, I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you for joining us today. If there was something you liked most about today, please share it in the comments below. If you liked what you saw, please click like. And I do also ask, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can let you know when we go live again. Have a great weekend.